Hello and welcome to the second episode of A Talk with Tabriz. My today's guest is a TEDx speaker, a prolific writer, a sharp observer, and a LinkedIn influencer. Please help me welcome Sri Ram Kumar.
Hi, Tabriz. Good morning. Thank you for having me. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for giving your time, sir. Let's get started. I want to know something personal from your side. Which is the earliest memory of yours when you fell in love with writing?
It was probably in the going back to my school days when, I mean, honestly, I was not good in English, sorry, mathematics, science, and all that stuff. So, English used to be the subject I used to like. And obviously, I used to put in efforts and write well. And consequent to that, I would get decent marks over there. So, that would kind of offset the challenges I had with the other subjects, and I could still get away convincing my parents that I could do a better job next time. Probably that's where I started falling in love with English because it saved my skin many a time and writing.
Yes, even I was similar to you when I was in school, terrible in maths, weak in science, but somewhere down the line, theory saved me. So we have similar stories.
Oh, yeah.
Can you explain me the moment or the trigger when you get idea to write something?
Personally, for me, triggers can be anything. Okay. Something that you observe when you are probably going to buy something in a shop, or you notice when you are walking alone, or it could be when you are working and you see some email from somebody, or you read something. The trigger can be anything. That's probably the most simplistic answer I can give, Tabriz. I mean, anything and everything above, around you can be a trigger for one to write.
Can you explain a personal moment when you got trigger to write something?
I'm going to put up something tomorrow. There's going to be something that I've scheduled a post for tomorrow, uh, which is around hope. What triggered that for me was a post or a couple of posts that I had read on LinkedIn itself about people talking about the challenges, their difficulties, and how they're still trying to move ahead, and how, despite that, they sometimes feel that all is lost, etc. So that kind of triggered me to write something about hope.
How much time does it take from the starting point of writing when you get the idea and eventually putting it out for the public?
Again, there are no formulas and all that, Tabriz. Some of the stuff gets written in minutes. Okay. When you get a thought and you're just so passionate about wanting to put it out,
Yeah.
it gets done in minutes. Sometimes it takes hours, and probably even in a couple of instances, it has taken me 2 3 days to write something. Because as you keep seeing what you have written, you would like to change, you would like to edit, and if you're putting out some facts out there, you may want to cross verify something, right? So it could probably, I mean, if I have to be honest here, maybe a couple of days is the maximum that it has taken to me for me to put out something, think through it, etc. And if it goes beyond that, then you lose the rhythm and it just ends up being there. It's like baad mein dekh lenge, and it will never happen.
Okay. What is your take on the originality? Are you fine writing about trending topics regularly, or do you look for originality time to time?
See, finally, there is nothing original. It's all the same thoughts we have. And somebody said there are only three stories on the earth. There are many, quotes and quotations and, proverbs around originality and what it means, etc. And essentially, we are all human beings driven by the same emotions, the same thoughts, the same feelings, which will all come out in some form or the other. So that's one aspect of it. So, to that extent, if you really start digging deep, nothing may look original. Everything will end up being, it could be a correlation to something else, it could remind you of something else. And sometimes, as a writer, that is also good for you because your audience is able to connect with what you're writing. Right? That's one thing. Secondly, as a person who is living in this society, who sees so many things happening around you, it is but natural that you would like to write about or share your perspective about what is happening around you, which is also fair enough. But yes, I think what is also important is how do you express that? Which goes back to what you asked me, in your first question. Why are you writing? If you are writing just to get visibility or likes or whatever, then you may see what is being put up by somebody and you will say, अच्छा इसका 10,000 like है चलो मैं copy paste कर लेता हूँ. Even if I get 1,000 likes, it is good enough. That I think is not right. It should reflect your point of view. It should reflect your perspective in your own language, in your own words. To that extent, I think it ought to be, uh, original. It's like this, drawing we used to do in school when they would say draw a sunrise. Everybody will draw two mountains, one sun, four lines around it, one river or
Right.
lake
Right.
going around, one hut, and two trees.
Mm.
But all of them would look different. That is where our imagination comes in.
Last question in this segment. Which was your post which got maximum impressions? It went viral.
Probably the one post which got, which for me I think got maximum traction was something I wrote about 2 3 years back about why do we do something, what forces us, or what is it that keeps us going about doing what we are doing, whatever be it. And I had used the background for writing that as I had taken one song from the movie Dabang and I had written that. And obviously the post had Salman Khan's picture in it and the guy who was dancing behind him. He was the hero of my story, not Salman Khan. I have made it a habit. Every day 6 a.m. there is a post from me, so it is part of my routine now. So I enjoy that process. I enjoy the thinking process. I enjoy the process of putting down the first draft, refining it, modifying it, editing it, and then putting it out. That's it. See, there are two kind of posts I normally do. One is the short version, which is one sentence or whatever I put up at 6 in the morning. That honestly I don't go and check with anybody
Oh, yeah.
because it is too personal a thought, and it just,
Yeah.
whatever I feel like I put it up.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if people give feedback, I will just ignore it because it just come, it's something very, it just comes up to me at
Come
some
from
point.
heart. Yeah.
I just write it, so I just need to vent it out. So I put that up. For the longer versions, yes, there are two or three people I sometimes go back to and take their input, a specific input, right? Because if you ask people for their feedback in general, they are also confused. What is it that I need to give feedback about? So I may go and ask somebody and saying, okay, can you help me figure out if the structure is right? So then they won't bother about the idea, or if they say anything about the idea, I will ignore it because it is my idea.
Yeah.
At least if they give me some input on the structure which is relevant, I will take it. So yes, I do go back to people occasionally when it is a longer version of content.
So the learning is whenever you want to take input from somebody, you have to give them specific thing you want input on rather than just giving them entire idea and telling them what do you feel is right, what do you feel is incorrect.
Yeah, I think that makes it one easier for them. Everybody is busy. I mean, I'm not some celebrated writer that they will say, "अरे श्रीराम का article review करने का मौका मिल गया," and they will drop everything and do it. They have to find 2 3 minutes to from their time to do it. It makes it clear for them. It also tells them what to focus on. It also protects me from the central thing of what I want to write. हाँ उसी पे अगर इनपुट चाहिए I will go back to them. But otherwise, if there is something else, I think it's easy. I mean, if somebody asks me to do that, I will find it extremely easy because I need to know what to focus on. Yeah.
Agreed. Now we would move on to the second segment, which is called as ONE1. It's a
Mhm.
rapid fire segment which I have made, and here I'll be asking you a question which you can give answer in one word, one line, or if you feel you need to explain it, you are completely free to explain it. So
Sure.
the first one is one book you recommend everyone to read.
I would say read what interests you.
Which one personality you admire and why?
Okay. One person I truly admire, and I'm quite happy to get into a fight if, you know, I have to substantiate my liking for that person, it will be Sachin Tendulkar. I mean, he is. I'm a big fan of all cricketers till the time they are compared with Sachin.
Okay, great, great. Even I am a big fan of him. Luckily, when I was 10 years old, he was in his prime. I was 10 years old when I was in 97.
Hmm.
And he was in his prime. In 98, he scored 8 or 9 centuries in ODIs, which was the record then for scoring maximum centuries in a calendar year. So even I was fortunate enough to watch his prime and see him lift World Cup and then the retirement at Wankhede.
Yeah, yeah. The way he goes and touches the stadium with, the pitch with, and he bows down to the pitch. I mean, we can have a separate session on Tendulkar
22
if you want.
yards.
Yeah.
Yes. One last rapid fire question. I asked
Yes.
my first guest as well, Avinash Singh.
Sure.
The question is, which is the one thing which you could have done differently to achieve more success? It's a personal question. You can answer it the way you want, or you can choose to not answer it.
No, no. I mean, you're a good friend, Tabriz. I will answer the question. Uh, Probably, if I reflect back and see if some things could have been done better, etc., is maybe I could have reached out and built a network of mentor, coach, whatever you may want to call them. Basically, one sounding board or shoulder to cry on or whatever. Somebody I could have gone and taken feedback from. Maybe some things could have been better. How much better, I don't know, but it definitely is one thing that if when I reflect back and see, that would have definitely helped. And I take the onus of not doing it on me because I have to make the effort to go and reach out to my mentors or find them. So that I think is one big learning for me.
Yeah, completely agree. It is being said that whatever you can achieve in 10 years without mentor, you can achieve the same thing in 1 year if you have a mentor. So the mentorship has come at forefront in last few years, which is a good part.
Possible you may reach it in 1 year, or you may reach it in 2 years, or even 9 years, which is fine. Or even if you are as successful in 10 years, also it is okay. Your coach or mentor could have made you better, a better person. I would rather not see that from the time frame, but it is how you are shaped and molded into being a better person.
Okay, yeah, thank you. We'll move on to the last segment, which is the gray area. Is there a gray area when you write something? Like people say, do not write about politics, do not touch religion, do not share your personal grudges with your family on the public platform. What do you feel about that?
It's a tricky question, Tabriz, because fundamentally, if you look throughout history, be it any part of the world, any civilization, you have had people who have written stuff which has provoked thoughts, sparked revolutions, changed the course of history, realigned people's thoughts, etc. To say that something should not be written, I still feel is a little bit of a. I don't think fundamentally that is right. Uh, but then, do you go out and put everything that you feel that you want to say? That also is a problem. That also is a challenge. So probably two things one may want to keep in mind is whatever be the topic, whether it is religion or politics or anything personal, etc., etc. I think two things one needs to keep in mind is well or how appropriately are you expressing it. Okay, because if you still feel so powerfully about it, you need to express it.
Yes, great.
And secondly, if you choose to express that, there is a consequence to that. Are you ready to face the consequence? authors of the past who took a very contrarian view. They were banished from society. Some of them were jailed. Some of them were fined heavily. So, if you're ready to bear the consequence of that, then probably you can go ahead and share it uh, in a manner that, which at least still is something that people can think and reflect on.
Salman Rushdie is the one example which I'm getting. He was a writer, but very controversial one.
Yeah, see, today, if you look at him as an example, his books were banned. He himself was physically attacked.
Yeah.
Even recently, in the past, he was again attacked. So he knew what he was putting forth out there had a consequence. So when you are ready or when you are prepared for the consequences, then probably you may want to go out and write. If you're not, then you may choose not to do it.
Do you feel disappointed sometimes that nowadays video content gets more traction, more views?
Um, I wouldn't say I'm disappointed per se, because it's a different time that one is living in. It's a different age. The medium is different. Technology is the medium today. Video is the medium, like a pen and paper was. Probably people who used to communicate purely verbally would have felt very bad when pen and paper came as a technology. That यार आजकल बात नहीं करते हैं, लिख देते हैं लोग. So probably we are in that sort of a revolution now. So I wouldn't say I'm pretty disappointed with video taking over as a primary form of content. But what again matters over there is, what is it that you are putting out as video content? Why are you putting out what you are putting? And there is a lot of nonsense that is being put out just to get that, uh, you know, virality and people wanting to see what you're doing. People go on top of a building and drop something and then record it. क्या कर रहे हो यार? That is a little bit disappointing and worrying. And surprisingly, when such things become popular, the mediums in which you broadcast them, they pay you. You have a million views on any social media platform, they pay you some money. So then everybody thinks this is the easy way of doing something. Tabares is dropping something from the 10-storied building. I will go to the 12-storied building and drop something. Then the whole thing loses relevance.
Yeah.
That is a little actually that is very worrying for me.
In conclusion, one last question.
Sure.
How much role does thinking have in writing?
Okay. See, for me, Tabriz, if you look at writing itself, uh, there are three things that play a huge part. Okay. And the last, I think, is the process of writing itself that comes in the end. The most important thing for me is reading. At least personally, I feel that is where the entire game begins. As you read, you not only gain knowledge or gain information, etc., you also start reflecting or thinking, right? So, reading becomes the most crucial part because it exposes you to things, it makes you think or reflect. And most another advantage of that is it exposes you to various forms of writing, various frameworks of writing, which all can be very powerful for you to learn and assimilate. So, reading, thinking is very important, no doubt. But the trigger for thinking, I think, is the strongest when you read a lot. अदरवाइज झाड़ के नीचे बैठ के थिंक करे तो कुछ आएगा नहीं. वो बड़े लोगों को आता है. कॉमन मैन, you can't sit under a tree or under one somewhere and start thinking and things will not come. Reading, thinking, which then can translate into writing. That's the structure I think I feel is, at least that has worked for me.
The reason I asked you this question is I follow a person named Kiran Drew on Twitter, and
Mhm.
mentioned a very good line which states, as a writer, your job is not to write, your job is to think what to write. Because he was saying we should spend more time thinking what we are going to write than rather than just straight away go and write. That's what I wanted to. And
Sure.
thank you very much for watching the video. If you can, please subscribe to my channel. Take care. Bye.